has ballooned over the decades for whatever reason, and that was in various surveys too.
So Ty, you're talking about Michael Blake.
1776.
Wait, Ty, you're talking about Michael Blake, and he's 42, so he's not old. Is Ty still here? Go ahead, Sandra.
No, that was Diesel talking about the mayor. Is his name Dave Temple?
No, I think he's talking about Michael Blake, and he's 42. When he said some old guy, he's 42.
That was me who said the old guy is running for the mayor. Diesel. That's Diesel who said that.
Diesel. Okay, so you're talking about Michael Blake, and he's 42 years old. So if you think that's
I'm older than him, so that's crazy.
You said an old guy.
Well, he looked older than me, so maybe his aesthetic is a little older than me then.
Maybe. Yeah, somebody was saying something about 1772. What did you say? 1772 and what?
I said, was that what the survey said, that the people were Christian in 1776? Because the reason they left England was to get away from
Christianity,
the religious
Catholic Church,
over there.
and the taxes and shit.
To be free.
Well, yeah,
practice whatever religion they want to.
They still there.
So many different religions here, girl. Please.
Well, yes, from England, they still.
What's the argument?
Well, she was saying from 1776. I'll have to look at a lot of records in that. I was just looking at ones from the 50s and 60s. I didn't go back that far, but back then, yes, the people escaped persecution under versions of Christianity, but even those who came to this country still peeled off versions of Christianity. It may not have been under the Catholic faith or the way they did it in England, but they fled that because it was so oppressive, whereas versions of Christianity today allow you to worship the way you want, and you have different denominations that have branched off of that kind of stuff. So, Catholics and others, Protestants and all that other kind of stuff, it still is under, kind of that Christian type realm. So that's what I think about it in this country when it comes to religion and how it's kind of branched and gotten, the way that it is today. Maybe not commercialized. Some would say yes, some would say no, but I think even the commercializing of religion puts it in its place where it is today. That's what I think about it.
The people who came here from England weren't without a religion. They were Puritans and Puritan separatists who wanted to leave the Church of England, Catholic.
You are right. You are right. Yeah.
But what's the argument here? That Christianity wasn't very influential? That Christianity was?
No, we was talking about the girl, and it evolved into this. We was talking about the girl who got told to go back to her country and shit from the teacher.
Show your photo, cause
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that either. I think that's horribly embarrassing for a teacher to talk to a student like that. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, the teacher got caught on camera abusing a student, and she and the other folks in that classroom are possibly going to go to prison because you can't hit a student. They later found out that the student was disabled and was now known to be nonverbal, and she was saying some very, very horrible stuff. They had to blank it out on television. It was that bad, but they're facing jail time. You don't do that stuff. Did that person go to jail? Do y'all know any charges or anything?
No, she didn't go to jail. Hey, so check this out.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think Philip put in the chat, forecasting models predicted that the current steep U.S. aid funding cuts could result in 8.5 million and 19.7 million excess deaths, with our best estimates being around 14 million. And then he added the Lancet it's evaluating the impact of 2 decades of U.S. aid interventions, and it projects the effects of defunding on mortality up to 2030.
Is that because of the big No Beautiful Bill? I'm not calling it the Big Beautiful Bill, whatever people want to call information.
That was Elon cutting USAID when Trump first, like, early on, when he first got, well, we're 6 months in. Earlier on, George Soros and the left were accused of, trying to or Bill Gates, somebody, to depopulate the world, and here we are. Who's actually doing?
Both of them are accused of it, especially Bill Gates' wife, ex-wife now.
It turns out it's Elon Musk doing it.
Crazy. I always hear these arguments about Bill Gates, and to be honest with you, I know somebody that was a recipient of something that Bill Gates does, and I really don't have the same bullshit that everybody has. I actually like the program that some of the programs that he has. I like a lot of the. Didn't he do something in Africa with? I know this sounds old and bullshit to us, like what, eradicating like polio or some shit.
Yeah, I mean he's done a lot to save. He's done a lot to save lives for someone who wants to depopulate them.
I agree. I'm saying that's a trope that people on the right put out there about him. But like I said, it was Elon Musk that cut USAID, and that's what we were talking about. So, yeah.
Yeah, the depopulation stuff falls in another space, not this space. And we're talking about that. And I just sit there and I said, man, ain't no way in the world you would want to depopulate the earth, because you need still somewhat of standing armies, all kinds of reasons why you would want to have a good, healthy population. I just don't understand this kind of stuff. It's either the good Lord put it here or the good Lord will take it. But people should not play God. Like, I've never heard about Bill Gates doing any of this kind of stuff, or really anybody, unless it's dealing with something maybe in a lab or molecular structures or something dealing with microbiology or other stuff, but not things talking about depopulating the earth. I've never read that from any science, just, medical thing, any of that. I've never read that kind of stuff in my life. I mean, I don't know about y'all. Okay. What books is that? Help me out.
So do you want to, let's let Philip go ahead and explain what he was putting in the chat real quick, so we can transition out this presentation.
Yeah. So projections suggest that, I'm reading through from the paper, projections suggest that ongoing deep funding cuts combined with potential dismantling of the agency could result in more than 14 million additional deaths by 2030, including 4.25 million deaths among children younger than 5 years. I'm kind of speechless. I'm just myself came by this study to be honest. Most of this is in African countries, right? So it is programs such as vaccination, such as HIV, AIDS, mortality reduction, malaria, tropical diseases, etc., etc. Like the paper goes into breakdown by tuberculosis, nutritional deficiencies, lower respiratory infections, maternal conditions. So they forecasted program by program. That's the top line number for all of them combined. The 14 million is, I think, the best estimate. They provide a range of estimates. So on the lower range of estimates is 8.5 million. On the higher end is 19.7 million, with their best estimate being 14 million. This is horrific.
Yeah, you put that into a calculator. That is not proportional. That is really bad. I was sitting up there trying to put that in there. That's really bad, and that is under the Republican watch that is done, and they do not care. Just like they don't care in this country that 1 in 3 out of 1 in 3 Americans, they don't have a meal to eat tonight. Zero, nothing. And so that's problem. That's really embarrassing.
Especially if your country is hella fat. We're supposed to be the fattest country, and 1 in 3 people ain't eating. That's wild.
Yeah, and
we throw shit away like a motherfucker. So damn.
I don't know. I mean, we serve a lot of people. We've served some 10,000 some people in the last 2 weeks. We've seen the need balloon ourselves, where we've had to move stuff to a massive warehouse to move all that stuff to get people fed. It is an undertaking. It is so sad to see people in America who have told us we don't have this and this and this to eat. And that is concerning. And they said they've seen that balloon and grow since the pandemic. And now that Donald Trump's in office, they say they will see a 22% jump in people in this region needing food. That's embarrassing. In this region alone. That's sad.
You know, it's crazy that a lot of Americans that's on the Republican side, they really don't see. Like, I know the motherfuckers in Senate know this, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to these USAID contracts, you know who actually gets them? It's usually the American companies. Like, when we have to, like, let's say the bottled water, guess who is the bottled water supplier when it comes to certain USAID? It's Coca-Cola. It's Coca-Cola. Do a Google search. It's Coca-Cola.
I didn't know.
Like, this shit is fucking ridiculous. Like, these USAID is putting money back into American pockets, as well as giving us access to having new trading partners. Like, I don't even understand why these people fight USAID like it's a fucking problem.
And it's a lie they tell. It's a lie they tell. They want to cause harm to people, but put it under the guise of saving money, right? And it's just a lie. It's a hateful ideology espoused by people like Elon Musk and some of his other tech bros. I'm going to use them like people use George Soros, so get ready for that. And now, just watch it play out.
None of these Christians will bat an eye. They won't bat an eye. These MAGA Christians won't bat an eye at millions of people dead. They don't care. They would say, open a nonprofit. That's what one told me yesterday. Open a nonprofit and feed all these people. If you care about people so much, why don't you feed them? That's what one told me yesterday in this room.
How embarrassing. I mean, and people, ma'am, that ain't gonna work. I mean, people know that folks are struggling in this country to keep their head above water. Now you continue to read a bunch of stuff where people's credit is now going to be affected by the credit loan. You know, I read a bunch of boring stuff, but this is what it is. That this stuff could go on your credit. It could drop your credit by 103 points, but in some places and all that, depending on how it's reported. I find that to be egregious and could affect a lot of people from getting basic stuff. I don't know, from car loans to whatever you consider basic. It is really embarrassing when you continue to read even the bill. I told y'all I fell asleep, you know what I mean, because I couldn't read it. I had to put it into a machine and try to put those pages in there so it'll read it, so I could listen to it audibly. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of folks going to be affected, and you just keep reading, and it just gets, it gets really bad, y'all. Just keep reading the bill to the best of your ability. Put it in a machine if you can't read it all. It's a lot.
I mean, shit, though, I don't think that it's going to pass because of most of the Medicaid and those type of implications that it got in it. So they're going to have to redo it for sure. But if you asking a millionaire,
and they're supposed to be
but they still, the house.
You know how to have the house. You think the house ain't gonna pass it? Where you be?
I don't think that they're gonna pass the bill.
The fuck?
Okay, well, shit.
We're still gonna have a lot of.
You can cuss, but that ain't gonna do shit for the conversation.
Not everybody's happy with in the house. Yeah, not everyone's happy about it in the House, so there's still going to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna pass. I just don't think it is.
Yeah,
And they got a couple of Republicans.
And you know what people said, Diesel? You know what people said? The first time it passed in the House, you know what Marjorie Taylor Greene said? She said, "Oop, I signed it, but I didn't read it." She actually fucking said that shit. Look
Wow.
Yeah, she actually said that. So they will pass it again. Maybe a couple of things will be taken out, but they will pass it again. It already passed through the House. It's already been through the Senate. So yeah, they're gonna pass this thing. It's basically done.
But I mean, they gotta listen. It was read out loud for some 15 hours. It's like if you can't even take part of that and understand that it's a bad bill. Yes, it'll probably be revised and all of that. Who knows? Who knows where that's going to go once it goes to the second. So it's already been revised. Wow. So that bill, has been revised and so on and so forth. It's just not a good bill. At least what I could read of it and get of it. It's a lot of pages to try to read yourself. I really do suggest y'all to buy a machine that can scan that stuff.
We suggested that yesterday. All right. So, and there's summaries and there's stuff that people could read online. We already know it's trash, but people will sign that because they don't want to go against Trump.